Welcome to Sparks of History, where world history and Jewish history meet. We are very honored and pleased to have with us today Rabbi Jacob J. Schacter. Rabbi Schacter received his rabbinic ordination from Yeshiva Torah V'das and earned a PhD from the Near Eastern Languages and Civilizations Department at Harvard University. Rabbi Schacter served as the first rabbi of the Young Israel of Sharon, Massachusetts, and subsequently as rabbi at the Jewish Center in Manhattan. From the year 2000 until 2005, Rabbi Schacter was the dean of the Rabbi Joseph B. Soloveitchik Institute in Brookline, and afterwards became senior scholar and university professor at Yeshiva University's Center for the Jewish Future. Rabbi Schacter is a popular and highly regarded writer, lecturer, and educator. And today we're going to take Rabbi Schacter all the way back to his Harvard days and discuss his groundbreaking, authoritative doctoral thesis written on the life and writings of Rabbi Jacob Emden. And this is the thesis acceptance document that we downloaded, and urge all of our readers and listeners to download Rabbi Schacter's doctoral thesis as well as his other works. Again, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Reb Ari. It's a real privilege to be with you. Shimcha holech lefanecha. I understand that I am in august company, but just being in your company is august enough for me, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Just a little bit about your early background and how you became interested in Rabbi Jacob Emden.
As you mentioned, I was a graduate student at Harvard University and was finishing up my coursework and my doctoral exams, and started to begin thinking about a topic for doctoral dissertation. My original focus was on what I would refer to as cultural transference. In other words, how does a culture transfer itself from one place to another? And what interested me is the fact that in the middle part of the Middle Ages, Jews lived in Western Europe, and slowly they began to be expelled from England in 1290, from France throughout the 14th century, and then the Rhineland in the 15th century. By the time we come to the 16th century, Ashkenazi Jews are living in Poland. And at the end of the 15th century, they get expelled from Spain and they move into the Ottoman Empire. And so they transfer their culture. Their culture is moved from Western Europe to Eastern Europe, or to the Ottoman Empire in the case of Sephardim. So what's the phenomenology of culture transference? How does a culture transfer itself from one place to another? What does it put into the suitcase? What does it leave behind? What is at the top of the suitcase so it comes out immediately when they arrive in their new location? What's all the way at the bottom? It takes 100 years for it to show up. How does that work? And I was fascinated by that. And my touch point was the city of Prague. Prague was a way station from west to east. And I was zeroing in on Prague. And I realized that I really needed to know Czech in order to do the kind of work that I wanted to do. And that was going to derail me. I'm a yeshiva bacher. You know, I had to know French and German to get past my doctoral exams. In my department at Harvard, the Near Eastern department, we had a choice of Akkadian, Ugaritic, Sumerian, Hebrew, or Aramaic. We had to choose 2 out of the 5. And I would imagine that you and your audience knows which 2 out of the 5 I chose. And to give you a hint, they were not Akkadian, Sumerian, and Ugaritic. And so when it came to Czech, this was a big hill for me to climb. And ultimately ended up not working on that, regretfully. In the interim, I needed money. I was a graduate student. I was a rabbi in a small town. I had a baby. Baruch Hashem, I had 2 children. I needed to make some extra dollars. So I picked up a project that a friend was doing that he no longer was able to continue to do. That is to translate Megilat Sefer, Rabbi Jacob Emden's autobiography, into English. And I got a contract with Yale University Press, which parenthetically I still have. a contract with Yale University Press to translate it into English. And I started working on Rabbi Jacob Emden on the side to pick up a few extra dollars. They were going to give me $2,000 if I would have it done within 2 years. That was Kol Hoin da Alma. That was a massive amount of money for me. And even though it took a lot of time, but I did it because I needed to make money. When I rejected or left the choice of doctoral dissertation, I said to myself, no, Mahalchan and Rabbi Jacob Emden, you're already working on Rabbi Jacob Emden, why don't you shift and make that the focus? So I sort of backed into my interest in Rabbi Jacob Emden, although I must say that having become interested, I remain mesmerized and very much challenged by and really excited by the complexity of and the genius, the godless of Rabbi Jacob Emden. Next week, Amir Hashem, I hope to send off to the printer. I have a contract with Merkaz Shazar in Yerushalayim to do a Hebrew edition of the Megilat Sefer, which is my current academic project, which is now coming to an end. So I started working on this 42 years ago. The gematria V'dibarta Bum. Bum is the gematria of 42. I consider it to be a school of Harichas Yamim, but it is now coming to an end. That was, you asked me about the beginning. That was the beginning. Now Mahal Shem V'mezuk Ba'da Oishbayin, by the end of Aleinu. And this, I hope and I believe, will conclude my academic focus. I've written many articles on Rabbi Jacob Emden over the years, but you know, it's time, and I think I'm going to wrap it up.